Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being the show where I talk about the TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. Another great episode. A lot of interesting things within this episode, so let's break things down. For one, we learned a little bit more about Cassius, like his whole banishment, why this came to be. Apparently, he lost a strategic battle, and when the situation came down to it, a lot of his men were dying, he ran away, which is kind of like, he's labeled a coward and everything because, the Krees are all about warriors and glory and death and stuff like that. So, hence his banishment and stuff like that because he's an embarrassment on the family and everything. Kind of more reason why his brother hates him. It makes you wonder prior to that battle, like, how was he seen in how were they seen in their father's eyes, to that extent to be, because the way he makes it sound like he went through everything his brother did. It's like you leading the armies now, kind of controlling, like, the Empire. It's like, I went through the same training, I went through the same tribulations as you, yet you're the one with all the glory, and I'm left the way I am. But his brother's like, oh, it's because you're such a coward. And it kind of, because when it comes to Cassius, you can tell that self-preservation is literally at the top of the list for him, considering the fact is that just the way he is about everything, like his little need for perfection. And maybe that just stems from the fact is that it stems from, like, his need to impress his dad, so he wants everything to be all prim and perfect and show his father just, like, how amazing he is. Maybe that's what that stems from. Or maybe that's just part of Cassius' natural personality. Maybe it doesn't stem anything from his, like, need to be seen by his family, essentially, because you see the vanity in this episode, because obviously it's like he's got the scar on his face, which last episode with the angle, I thought Gemma slit his throat, but then again, it's like the same thing applies of like, well, it's symbolic because like he's all about perfection and those scars, and it's like, oh, now he has a scar, so but I mean, it's on his face instead of like his neck. But even being like, oh, is it noticeable? It's like the whole situation's happening right now. Daisy, Simmons, and Fitz got away, and that's at the top of your priorities. Like, will people notice this scar? So, but I also appreciate the fact that Sonara is super pissed at him too. He's like, "Oh, you mad because I put you in a? Come on, I knew you. You look at you handled your own against her, and it's like you're such a piece of crap." Like, Cassius. The fact is, it's just like he went along with it, even though Cassius is supposed to be in charge. He let his brother like dictate the rules here. This is supposed to be your little spot, but then at the same time, it's in a desperate need to please his brother. He ended up, crumbling like that, which kind of pissed Sonara off the most. It's just like, but he's like, oh, you've always kind of been my blade. You've always kind of been my. It's not outright saying that, but that he's always kind of been her blade, and now it's like I'm asking you to do this one last thing for me. So I was actually kind of surprised about the whole situation with the other guy that worked for Cassius's brother, the one who used like human weapons, because it's like, oh yeah, because he likes the aspect of killing humans with their own weapons. So, okay. Wasn't expecting her to outright kill him the way she did. I thought the whole point was going to be like, oh yeah, wait till you've captured them, and then I'll kill you to steal the glory. I figured that was the point in the first place anyway, but I guess it was also just kind of assert her dominance. Like, I'm not expendable. I am like great. I am a great warrior, essentially. That's why I was actually surprised when she was like, it's like, oh, who killed him? I was like, and she was like, it was me. I was like, wow, I thought you were going to lie your like teeth off and be like, no, it was the humans and everything. And I thought maybe I had a feeling Cassius was going to kill his brother. I thought he was going to do it the moment he picked up the gun. I thought we had that moment of like him pointing the gun at his brother, and it's like, I'm done. And then his brother like, really? You're going to pull the trigger? And then Cassius might not be able to. Something like that. I actually thought, like, even when he ultimately did do it, I was like, Cassius is about to step in and do something. I was like, oh, I guess he's not. Because I thought the whole point was, the way he was like Cassius' brother was like, oh yeah, you're a warrior that I underestimated you. You're much better than my brother. My brother can't really help you, but together, all the stars we can conquer. And then Cassius Staten was kind of thinking he was going to shoot him just because of the whole gun conversation earlier, because it's like, well, I guess it's more like, well, he still used a gun, I forgot, but it was like basically a bayonet that he ended up using. But he did stab him, and it is that situation because his brother was all about like, oh, I prefer blades because you get to go up close, feel the blood, whole like, oh yeah, blood of battle, blah, 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 blah. So I guess that was kind of meant to be kind of symbolic in itself too. A lot of symbolism. But for Cassius, he's done trying to appease it. Like, it's like, I've always tried to earn your respect. It's like, I'm done. Sonara isn't an object for you to take. And I'm like, oh, so Sonara means something. Because he also brought up the fact is that it's like, father sent me on a suicide mission. That mission was not meant for me to win. Because he even said it earlier, like, it's an impossible situation. Like, all his two generals were dead. We end up finding out later on. It's like, oh, Sonara killed them because they wouldn't let him run away. So that's what the whole Sonara situation, like, I thought Sonara was kind of like a lower ranking, like, amongst the Kree, like she wasn't anything special or something. Like, I thought it was like, oh, like she, like where he's kind of Kree royalty, she was kind of like a average person grew up on the streets type of situation. Who's to say that's still not her story? But it seems like she was part of the army. She's like probably one of its most loyal soldiers, and she ended up killing his general so that he could escape because they wouldn't let him escape. Now, whether that's because it's like, no, we're going to stay here and fight, but the way he makes it sound like it being a suicide mission is like, no, you're supposed to stay here and die because that's what your father wants. So, which is kind of interesting. He still wants to please his father even after all of that. But then again, I guess it's a situation where it's like you take your battles. You've dealt with your brother now. Now you know, it's like, oh, we'll go. Oh, father will be so pleased when we avenge my brother's death and bring him the destroyer. And then I'm sure it's going to be a situation of like, once he gets into position, maybe he'll just bite his time. I don't know if he'll actually muster up to like, you know, actually go after his father-in-law, which is kind of the see, because it seems like Cassius has kind of put himself as like, Sonara, she's better fit on the battlefield, not me. That's not my place. But for him, it's like essentially he's the brains of the operation. That my time should be spent calculating the moves that we make. You know, so. The lighthouse is kind of under his control again, so that's definitely going to be interesting, especially with the way things have kind of fallen into place with this whole situation. So going forward, and it seems like Cassius might not be the same person, so he might be a lot more controlling, which is kind of funny to say considering he's already been very controlling from the beginning. But maybe he'll break down the system he's already built because it's like, nope, I've got to prove a point. I need results. So this little slice of quote unquote heaven I've made for you, there's no more of that now. Things are going to change around here. Maybe something like that. We're just going to have to wait and see. For a moment, we had most of Team S.h.i.e.L.D. reunited. So I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Because of Deacon, for example, which I'm not too surprised about. I'm surprised Deacon came to them. In particular, he revealed himself to Daisy, Simmons, and VIDS, which is like, Daisy's like the one person. Oh, the others aren't too keen on you, but Daisy in particular is kind of like, I really don't like you. But he ended up managing escaping. I knew that he would be the one that they'd have to rely on. Especially because now that Tess is gone, like they have no one else to really rely on about like understanding this future and everything like that. But, I still like the fact of the matter is that he's still trying to explain himself. She's like, he works for Cassius. Like, I don't work for Cassius. Okay, sometimes I work for Cassius. It's like, I'm pragmatic in everything. He's like, the fact of the matter is, you wanted to find your friend, didn't you? I got you there, and I stopped you from doing stuff that would have gotten a lot of people killed. It's like, holy crap. You still, like I said, you understand where he's coming from. There is a justification for it. I don't agree with the justification. I don't like the justification, but I understand where it's coming from. That in his own mind, just because he is the way he is, Deacon's kind of probably thinking like, no, legitimately, I did help you. So, like I said, I'm not too surprised. I knew things would come back to Deacon. I thought they would have to go to Deacon. I didn't expect Deacon to come to them. So that was kind of a nice twist. Also, Flint, I guess it's just an inhuman thing. Not less Yo-Yo kind of gave him a little more pointers like off screen or something, but it's like he's gotten a lot more control over his powers because he had those few little pebbles and he made him into like a little sharp rock and like stabbed that Kree in the eye. And it's like that one in particular because that was the one that killed Tess. So that was I don't know. That's always interesting to me, like because it usually takes Inhumans a little while to kind of really get a real good understanding of their abilities. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, because it took Daisy a while to kind of get control of her abilities. But to be fair, also there's an aspect of like, well, Daisy's abilities come at a cost too. So she doesn't have her gauntlets anymore. Did she get over that? I guess it's like as long as she doesn't push her ability, she can control it. Well, she does have those wrappings, so maybe that's supposed to mitigate the like effects of her abilities for a while. Because I've almost let that slip my mind. It's like she needs her gauntlets because they keep her power from like reverbing against her and cracking her bones like it did in the past. So. But I was actually surprised when Flint was like, "Yeah, I'm not going." It's like, "What?" It's like, I got to stay here. This whole situation is happening because of me and stuff like that. I also like that conversation earlier on when everyone's just like, Flint's like, "No, I can't. Like, they're after me. No, they're after me. They're after me." And then Yo-Yo's like, I'm sure they really don't care which one of us they kill first, because it's like, technically they want all of you, so. But, the fact is, Mac and Yo-Yo stayed behind, which I like that. I'm not too surprised about the Yo-Yo situation because the fact of the matter is she bonded with Flint. But I mean, to be fair, Mac, that kind of took me by surprise. I guess it's like, no, like, I got your back. I told you. So I'm going to stay here and help you. It's like I said, Team S.h.i.e.L.D. was reunited mostly for a little bit, but it's like, hey, they've got to help out because things will probably be like I brought up earlier, the whole Kasaya situation. Things are probably going to get a lot worse for people, going forward with this whole situation, but they're going to stay behind and help. And I love it that Fitz like, okay, don't worry, I got weapons stashed for you guys. It's like, oh man, good going, Fitz. And they're on level 3. Level 3 with the things that suck the blood out of you. And Fitz is like, how was I supposed to? See, I don't think you guys are appreciating what I've done. Like, I think we're all skipping over the whole, like, time travel thing a little too quickly. You're forgetting the fact that I had to go about time travel the long way and everything. Like, I mean, come on, give me some credit here. And Matt's like, no, you got it, Turbo. And it's like, I love that aspect. I also love later on when Jim is like, he's like, oh, I'm never going to leave you again. And Jim is like, yeah, that's why I asked you to marry me. He's like, no, but it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, poor Fitz. She couldn't hear you. So she will always have the credit as the one like, no, I proposed to you. But it's like, no, technically I proposed to you first. You just couldn't hear me. It's like, sure, Fitz. I really did. This isn't me just trying to compensate for like, oh, no, I should have like, I'm not trying to hog the glory, but come on. I technically said it first. It still counts even if you didn't hear me. I just love that. And also, the fact is, Coulson's like, I can't drive this ship, but come on. I have a flying car. It can't be that, I have a flying car. It can't be that different, which is like, well, when's the last time you drove your flying car? It's been technically over 70 years. There's always been an in-between thing, like, I'm sure, but it's like, I actually don't remember whatever happened to that car. It's blanking on my mind. If you remember, if you know, let me know in the comments down below. I'll probably look it up afterwards, but when this car called Lola, haven't seen her for a long time. I think the last time we saw her, was it like season 4? Was it last season she popped up? I don't remember. Nevertheless. Then we also had the whole situation with May. You had Enoch helping her. Because apparently the roaches aren't interested in him because it's like, oh yeah, because I don't have insides that they're curious about eating and sucking out. It's like, huh. Because at first because that whole thing at the end of last episode made me go, okay, so you're actually a Kree, but it's like, no, he's a sentient being from blah, 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 blah. And so it's like, oh, so you're just disguising yourself as a Kree. But was that you just saying that just to get that guy's attention off guard of you being like, oh, I'm a Kree, always have been, always will be? Or is that supposed to be some situation of like, he's part of Kree, like he's a sentient alien that was created by the Kree or something like that? Is that what that's supposed to mean? I don't know. Maybe he actually is a Kree and he's lying about, that was my interpretation, but maybe I'm completely wrong about that. But it seemed like that might have been the case, but we just kind of have to wait and see. But for now, it seems like that's not the case. So, and he also seems pretty capable too because he killed those roaches. And he talks to May. He's like, "Wow, you're actually because she diagnosed her situation." It's like, I guess as being an agent is like, even if you're not a doctor, you need to understand the severity of your wounds and everything. And then it's kind of like he's like, "Wow, you shouldn't even be standing." It's like, he's like, are you a doctor? She's like, no, I'm a fighter. He's like, still? He's like, yeah, maybe you should think about a career change. It's like, well, she did kind of step away from the field for a while, but then Coulson kind of brought her back. But it's like, even, May hasn't really lost a step. She's still a badass. I mean, if it wasn't for her leg situation, definitely that fight against Sonara would have been much more different. And I'm thinking that's foreshadowing because that's probably definitely going to be the battle. It's going to be Sonara versus, May. I don't know, like, because Daisy would want a piece of that too, considering the fact is that Ben died because of Sonara. She's the one that killed him and everything. So that Sonara killed Ben, because I think I said that backwards just then. Either way, But what's kind of interesting is the fact is that they end up being rescued, and then May looks and like sees a shield symbol. It's like, wait, we're on the Zephyrs? Like, what is that all about? And lo and behold, who's there? It's Ruby. Isn't that her name? I'm blanking. It was literally a couple episodes ago she popped up. I think it's Ruby, the girl who can see into the future like her dad. And she's also talking to, so I guess eventually, well, because the last time we saw her, she was under Hunter's watch, and obviously Enoch. I guess like they all kind of kept an eye on her. So, but we see that she's kind of an older lady now. Gosh, she's got to be like in her 80s because it's been like 70 some years. So I am curious next episode will probably be tackling that, but like what exactly went down in that time? Like, the fact is that the Zephyr's here and everything. Does that mean she kind of restarted S.h.i.e.L.D. or something? And the events of all of this stuff, like what went down? How is she here? Are there other people with her, like descendants of S.h.i.e.L.D. agents or something like that? What happened to S.h.i.E.L.D.? Because the last time we saw, S.h.i.e.L.D. was kind of on the run. There's that whole organization, like during the VIDS episode, that was kind of like trying to hunt down VIDS. It was that lady, and she ended up killing those two that were kind of in the middle of this. It's like, oh, you failed, and so they were wiped out. So it's like, what is that about? Is this some like organization on Earth, or is this like an alien organization that kind of implanted itself in the military and was trying to handle that? Like, I don't know. So many questions. We would just kind of have to wait to see where things go from here. I'm also curious to see what part Deacon plays going forward this whole situation. It's like, we don't necessarily trust you, but now we kind of trust you and everything. A little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. So I'm very interested to see what part he plays in the story going forward. I mean, let's not forget his dad is down below on the surface as well. So it does make you wonder, is the Zephyr the only like last remaining aspect of like sanctuary on the surface of Earth, or there are other places? I mean, because the question is, like, I guess the Zephyr is stockpiled with a lot of stuff, because like for people to have survived on it for so long, I mean, how did it survive the destruction of Earth? The questions like that. I mean, I guess like maybe they were up in the sky before things went to crap. Maybe the Zephyr's buried underground or something like that, so it stayed safe. I don't know. Nevertheless, like I said, we would just have to wait and see. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good